Thanks very much for staying with us. Time out for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, across parts of Africa, millions lift their eyes skywards for a rare celestial event, a partial solar eclipse, dimming the skies as the moon passes between the Earth and the sun. We join some of the sky chasers in Tunisia. Also, Zambia heads into presidential elections, and as President Hakainde Hichilema hopes for a second term, his main rival says that it's been a tough campaign and claims that that's in part due to deliberate obstruction from the government. And we head to Nigeria, where drivers are increasingly turning to electric vehicles as the country grapples with a decades-long fuel crisis. But it's not all smooth running, and challenges remain. We take a closer look. But first, we turn to the continent, where crowds across parts of it in the north and the west gathered on Wednesday evening to catch a glimpse of an exceptional sky. From late afternoon, a solar eclipse sent the moon nibbling away after the sun, partially blocking its rays. The maximum contact between the body's paths was, for example, in Senegal, around 7:11 p.m. local time before the phenomenon ended. Now, this was visible from across most of Senegal in particular, but also in other parts of the continent, particularly towards the north. Views and the length of the phenomenon was particularly good. So we turn to Tunisia, where the eclipse, which gives spectators a fascinating display of the mechanics of the solar system and a reminder of cosmic coincidence, sent in Tunisia thousands flocking to Sidi Meshreg, which is just a few hours outside of the capital. And that's where our Lilia Blazes, she managed to speak to some of those gathered.
This event brings a lot of questions. We wonder how the moon moves. It feels like a satellite that turns around the planet Earth. How does the sun move? Does the Earth rotate? We will have a Q&A later to discuss all of this. We have taken the opportunity to really explain this phenomenon. It is the first time we have the opportunity to watch this live, and it doesn't happen very often. It really is exceptional, and we've had a discussion with my daughter about it. It's a first for her.
So Lilia is still at Sidi Meshreg, and she joins us now on the line. Lilia, we are hearing there some very excited spectators about not just the beauty of the event, but what it means in terms of being a learning occasion. What more were people telling you whilst you were amongst them on Wednesday evening?
It was really exciting for a lot of people here because they have made a day of it, having picnics in front of the beach and making sure there is jau, which is the Tunisian word for sun. It was the first time for many spectators who watch lunar shadow. The last one in Tunisia happened in 1999. So for most of the spectators, it was a must-see event, but also an opportunity to teach some science to their kids. We saw a lot of mothers and fathers talking with their kids about the meaning of the eclipse. And this particular gathering in Sidi Meshreg, Tunisia, was organized by the Cité des Sciences, a major science museum in Tunisia, which took the opportunity to also hold a conference on the astronomy. Even if the most beautiful backdrops to watch the eclipse with a clear sky are in southern Tunisia, near the desert, this scenery in Sidi Meshreg has been a huge hit, and the eclipse only lasted for a few minutes, but we could feel really the excitement of people. And many families told me that they are already impatient for next year because another total solar eclipse will take place, and cities like Kairouan in the center of Tunisia will be in complete darkness for nearly 3 minutes.
That sounds amazing. Thanks so much, Lilia. What did you think? What did you see? Just tell us what it was like, since you were lucky enough to be able to get such a ringside seat of such a spectacular event. Did you enjoy it?
Yes, of course. Even if it was not fully total solar eclipse, I mean, we could see partly the moon occulting the sun, and it was really beautiful to see. And also the atmosphere and the ambience was really great. Like you could feel that people were really glad to be there and to share this moment together.
Oh, thank you so much, Lilia Blaze there, who legged it to Sidi Mishreg from Tunis for us in order to be Eye on Africa's eyes and ears during this spectacular partial solar eclipse in Tunisia. Well, a look now at some news in brief. Search and rescue operations continued on Wednesday as emergency teams in Zimbabwe scrambled to recover the bodies of victims of a capsized ferry. At least 44 people died after the overcrowded vessel went down on Lake Kariba. Witnesses say that it went down in rough waters. It's one of the lake's worst ever boat accidents. More drone strikes in Sudan on Wednesday as the paramilitary RSF forces on one side of the country's 3-year civil war targeted the capital Khartoum and other army-controlled cities, including El Obeid in Kordofan and Atbara and El Dama in the north. The conflict has cost a conservatively estimated 200,000 lives and has caused the world's worst humanitarian crisis. The IMF, International Monetary Fund, has taken a step closer to agreeing on a $439 million loan for Guinea, spread out over 3 years, aimed at ramping up economic growth. Now, this still has to be greenlit by the IMF's executive board next month, but could make a big difference to helping Guinea diversify the economy beyond agriculture, which currently employs most of the population. And South Africa is asking other African governments to pay it back for the cost of sending tens of thousands of their nationals back home. Pretoria deported more than 80,000 immigrants over the last few months, following a wave of protests and violence that targeted particularly undocumented foreigners and cost at least 4 lives. Written requests for compensation have reportedly been sent to Malawi, Ethiopia, and Nigeria. The Home Affairs Ministry in South Africa says that it spent nearly $18 million on accommodation and transportation of immigrants demanding to return home because of threats to their safety. Now, Zambia heads into presidential and parliamentary elections on Thursday. President Hakainde Hichilema is hoping to win a second term. However, his main rival, opposition leader Brian Mundubile, says that it's been a tough campaign, and he's accused the government of tightening restrictions on his camp in the weeks in the run-up to the vote.
To this end, it's a process. We've not been able to campaign freely. We were stopped permits, landing rights and permits to fly. When our opponent, President Hakainde Hichilema, had 3 helicopters, he could fly and have 6 rallies a day. We were only allowed to do our campaigns by road. I've had no passport for the past 4 months. I've had no phones. My phones were confiscated with numbers and, seized 4 months.
Well, in Nigeria, consumers are increasingly turning to electric vehicles as the country struggles with a decade-long fuel crisis. But challenges remain, and that includes not enough charging stations, not enough infrastructure, and frequent electricity outages, as our Laurel Berstecker tells us.
Every morning, Cyril Okoye heads out to brave the Lagos traffic in his new electric car. He's one of the few to drive a fully electric vehicle in the Nigerian capital, and so far the investment has paid off.
I won't lie, it's one of the best decisions I made. The experience has been smooth. The speed, the fact it's quiet, the fact I don't get to spend a lot of money on fuel.
Despite being one of the world's top crude oil producers, Nigeria has been grappling with fuel shortages for over 10 years. And in 2023, a government decision to scrap a popular subsidy saw prices rise even further. The issue was recently compounded by the war in the Middle East, pushing a growing amount of consumers to turn to electric vehicles. Authorities also launched a series of incentives to promote clean energy, including tax waivers and lower import duties on electric cars. But frequent power outages across Nigeria mean many still rely on diesel generators to charge their vehicles. A contradiction which shouldn't deter Nigerians from making the switch, according to some manufacturers.
We are getting there gradually. for example, if you are in your house, you are running your generator, like you have your diesel generator at home, maybe because there is no power for a while, you can also charge your phone, your cars, everything you need to charge within that same hour. So you're still reducing your carbon emissions significantly.
There are currently only around 50 charging stations across Nigeria, 10 times less than in South Africa, the continent's most developed electric vehicles market. Despite the challenges, Nigerians like Okoye say the economic benefits largely outweigh the costs.
And finally, Malawi has bagged a semi-final win over Algeria in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The 3-1 victory was all down to the Chawinga sisters, Tabitha Chawinga scoring 2 goals and her sister Temwa adding another to put Malawi into the championship match. That also sends Malawi to next summer's Women's World Cup for the first time. Well, that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks very much for joining us, though. And do so again if you can. Till then, take care.